Just a rebel with a lightsaber dream. Lost my hand, lost my friend, lost my self-esteem.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Acolyte 1 year later rewatch series done by myself, Clone Force 97, and my buddy Star Wars Nerd 00. This is the rewatch series that absolutely nobody asked for, but we're giving it to you anyway because we decided to take a look at this show 1 year later with fresh eyes to see what worked, what didn't work, and what we might have got wrong the first time that we watched it. Today, we are discussing episode 5, arguably the best episode in the series. There is not another episode in this series that comes close to the amount of hype that this one has generated. Even for the people that do not like The Acolyte, this is always the episode that they refer to as the one that they did like. So today, after a very long pause between the releases of episode 3 and episode 4 for us, we are back finally for episode 5. And with that being said, Star Wars Nerd, let's get into it.
Dude, I'm very excited because, like you said, there's not an episode of this show that comes close to this. Like, even before when I was on my whole, like, yeah, fuck the Acolyte, fucking cancel this shit. Well, I wasn't ever actually saying cancel this. I actually made a post saying, don't do the cancel the Acolyte. But dude, episode 5, easily the best one. I mean, it picks back up after Kymir throws Osha to the side, and she wakes up, and we look, and we get to see the first of many fallen Jedi, which was something I was a little bit worried about with this show, because I didn't know anything about it when it first came out. All I knew was Jedi see a red blade. I was like, ooh, I hope all these fuckers die. And my God, not only does this episode give us some of the best saber choreography since the prequels, for me, episode 5 tops the Ahsoka versus Anakin fight in the Ahsoka show. And that's not to knock Rosario and Hayden. It's just, I like this one a little bit better, dude. I mean, we got to see Kymir basically doing what Anakin did in the little hologram in Revenge of the Sith. He's single-bladed, fighting off tons of Jedi. And at one point, we literally see him stab 3 Jedi in one motion. And the saber stabs are deadly again. So, I mean, what's there to bitch about for the saber fights in this episode? But
dude, absolutely amazing. And not to go too much into Ahsoka because we're not really covering that. That is also a much different sequence. That is Anakin not really going to kill Ahsoka. He just wants her to choose to live, which I don't know about you. I did not like that sequence. Like, I love the fight, but like next thing you know, she disarms him and goes, I choose to live. Did not like it at all. 100% was a cringy moment. Like, I understand it, did not like it. But this is a battle. And I know the last time that we talked about how I didn't like that we already were brought into this episode and most of the carnage has happened. But we've also talked about perspectives in Star Wars. And this show is from Osha's perspective. So that's why, because she's knocked out, when she wakes up, that's why the carnage has already happened. I would have liked to have seen it, especially finding out what Manny Jacinto said they didn't leave in from Denver Comic-Con.
That would have been badass if they left that deleted scene in. For those of you who don't know, Manny Jacinto said that they had to cut a scene where Kymir was bashing a Jedi's head against a rock. And I don't know about you or anybody watching, but I love when Star Wars gets dark and brutal. I mean, my favorite trilogy of novels is the Darth Bane series. The first chapter, the dude like bites a dude's thumb off. And in the first book, like they start the Sith purge, and it starts with him crushing a dude's skull on the ground. So it's like, I love that shit. So I wish they would have left that in, but I don't know if that was like a Lucasfilm or Disney being like, hey, that's a little bit too much. But I wish they would have left it in, considering we've seen Vader drag Kenobi through fire and literally have seen Anakin burst into flames, bloody arms in A New Hope, and Vader snapping a child's neck in Kenobi. I think we could have dealt with Chimere bashing a Jedi's head against a rock.
I've definitely felt that way for a little while. I do understand that Star Wars is made for kids. It's supposed to be something that is made for everybody. But boy, would Star Wars be even better if it was rated R. And not rated R because they're cursing or doing all these different things. Rated R for just pure brutality, especially with what Ryan Reynolds has done with Marvel, like saying, hey, rated R superhero does work. And then doubling down to have Wolverine come back. And then that fight sequence in the van where they play they play the Greatest Showman music. Like, brutality works, and it would work so much better for Star Wars, and I think they could definitely leave it in, especially because, like, this is streaming. They don't have to follow traditional TV norms. They could have left that scene in. Even though we didn't get it, I'm still grateful that they were willing to take that risk and
Yeah.
willing to be told no. Because I think when you're doing stuff, especially something like this original, shoot for the fence. Get told no more than you get told yes. Because then at least you're trying. Now, obviously, shooting scenes and cutting it, that goes into the argument of like, oh, maybe they wasted money for filming these shows. I don't personally entertain those arguments because that's something I'm significantly not knowledgeable in. Like, everybody's like, Obi-Wan Kenobi cost more than like Revenge of the Sith. Like, I think that's what they were comparing something to. And I was like, listen, Revenge of the Sith was also shot in 2005. Like, adjust numbers for inflation. Also consider 8 hours of filming compared to 3 hours of filming. It just doesn't line up for me, those kinds of arguments. But I do understand, like, hey, if you're going to shoot a bunch of stuff that's going to get cut, people are going to complain that it's wasted money. But hey, maybe one day we get a deleted scene.
I've seen a bunch of deleted scenes from the prequels and the originals and stuff, but I don't ever really see anything for like deleted scenes from Disney projects. Like
Yeah.
shows, the sequels, I mean, I've seen behind the scenes videos of like that scene from The Force Awakens, I think it is, where Ray is like, I've never seen so much green in the universe, and it cuts to Harrison Ford giving her like a funny ass look, and it's nothing but the green screen around them. But
Yeah.
I don't see any deleted scenes of stuff, and I know that they're there. I know they've got to be, bro. Like, shit doesn't just stay on the cutting room floor; it eventually hits the internet.
Yeah.
So I would like to see that deleted scene from The Acolyte. I was actually talking to my buddy earlier. Like, we've seen like I know we're going into this without the whole outside interviews or other bullshit of like, oh well, the actors fucking said that Anakin blew up the Death Star, but I don't know if you've heard about like the original script for The Acolyte that apparently Dave Filoni like tore it to shreds and was a lot worse than like what we got. I want to see that. I want to see the original script for what we got. If it was this, who knows? I mean, it could be 10 times better than what we got.
Yeah.
I mean, we got the Obi-Wan Kenobi script. We got the Duel of the Fate script. Where's this Acolyte script?
Maybe they did actually send that one to the incinerator. I don't know. I mean, I hope it comes out just like, and I don't know if you've ever watched the show, but I've only know her from this, so that's what I'm going to reference it from. They used the girl from the show 13 Reasons Why on Netflix as like an older version of Tony Stark's daughter when like he dies in Endgame. Spoiler alert
Yeah.
for anybody who hasn't seen Endgame. But they use her, and even though they didn't use that scene, they eventually released the deleted scenes. I think it would be cool. And even like, I don't know if they've released it yet, and they might have. You know how they always do the making of The Mandalorian, the making of Obi-Wan? Have they released the making of The Acolyte yet?
Nah, bro. They
could just put
when
it there.
everybody shit on the Acolyte, they took like all their products down, like from the Disney store and everything, dude. Like they
could
pretty much
definitely-
removed the Acolyte from everything except for the books that were coming out and Disney Plus.
Yeah. I think they could definitely just include it in that. I mean, obviously, a lot of that's just it built like clipping stuff together. Like they show us all the behind the scenes stuff. That's where they could just include that. They don't even have to include it in a deleted scene. To get into this episode, we've talked about like OSHA has just woken up. And one of the first things we see here that like I saw the internet absolutely blow up about, people were super excited to see Cortosis. And to see like Manny Jacinto like back and forth and like deactivating these lightsabers, like I was watching the internet absolutely explode. And I was just like, how is he doing this? Like, what is turning off the lightsabers? And then I was finding it out, and I was like, dude, Cortosis is amazing. Like, and the way that he's doing it, like, he's headbutting lightsabers in this episode.
Headbutting, going like that, just dude, because
Yeah.
his gauntlets are also Cortosis. Like, I didn't know what Cortosis was, and I was telling my buddy like right before we started recording this, I was like, I first saw it, I saw him headbutt the lightsabers, and they started acting like Anakin's saber in episode 2 whenever he got chopped in half, and I was like, okay, their
Yeah.
sabers are fucked. And then they kept pushing the button and it eventually cut on. And I was like, well, God damn it, Anakin, what the fuck? You just didn't try hard enough?
Yeah.
And then I found out what it was, and I was like, I like that. I don't like the helmet design, but I like Cortosis. That is fucking awesome.
Yeah. It's, well, and like the helmet design, we've already talked about that enough, but I love that it's a sensory deprivation thing that like what, like, and we'll talk about it later, like pretty much the same line that like Yoda uses when Luke's looking at the dark side cave, the Force Nexus. When you're putting on the Cortosis helmet, only what you bring with you will be in there with you. And that's like how she knows later in, I think it's episode 6, where May is, because she can see everything. And I think that that's wonderful. I think that the helmet is great. And I just, dude, everything about this. The only thing that I do not like about this episode is like when Soul's like, get Osha out of here. And then Yord's like, civilian to the ship. Like, dude, oh my God. Like, for all the people that love Yord, like, I'm so sorry. Like, I feel the same way about Yord that I feel about Tim in Andor season 1. He is getting what is meant for him in this episode. Like, Yord is getting exactly what has been coming to him the entire time.
Yes.
And like, R.I.P.
For
Tim.
sure. Yeah. I mean, aside from the Yord shit, I mean, I like, well, they kind of bring it just back to Chimere. All that shit that we just glazed, he's doing all that single bladed. Like, he has
Yeah.
not shown the little twist saber action yet. Like, this is all just straight up using single or fucking
Yeah.
like that's it, bro. Like that's why I'm pushing that. Like, Chimere is powerful as fuck. I mean, like, I
Yeah.
really want them to do something with Chimere. I don't want them to I don't want this to be a one and done for this character. I might not like everything about this show, but my God, episode 5 is what I wanted from this show, to be honest with you. Like, if
Yeah.
this is what I thought the Acolyte was gonna be.
Yep, dude, he does everything really well. And then it's like May trying to leave, like Jecki taking a stand. Like, dude, Jecki and May seeing each other, and then that whole fight, Jecki completely overpowers her. But if I recall correctly, it's because Jecki finally gets her pinned down and says, like, you're under arrest, and lists off all the things. But she mentions the murder of her family, and that sets May off, and May completely overpowers her and gets away. Because, like, May knows that even though she started that fire, she is not the one who did everything that happened that night. Now, I still don't know how May found out about everything that happened that night. I will never, as of right now, know how she found out or how she survives. But
yeah, I mean, she
it's a thing that
literally fell
happens.
down the fucking bridge area and then respawned at a tree.
Yep.
I don't know if that's
Press
the
R.
witchcraft area or if that's like what.
Press R for respawn. You have accidentally fallen. Please press R. I thought Jecki was wonderful. And then, like, I've complained about the lightsaber that she was holding looking very thick. I did not realize that the lightsaber that she was holding at first was Kalnaka's. Like, I was like, oh, the lightsaber looks like a Pringle can. Like, I got really big on it. And I was like, dude, it literally takes Jecki's whole hand. And then as we've discussed more and more, I was like, wait, that's Kalnaka's saber.
Well,
A
her
Wookiee saber should be
still
bigger.
barely fits in her hand too, but
Yeah.
the Wookiee saber gets the pass for the Pringle can.
Dude, I love when she grabs the second saber, the look in her face, like, she's like, wow, I got 2 of these. And you can see this childish impulse, which I think was ultimately her doom. But she was super excited to go double bladed.
Dude, she did fantastic double bladed. I mean, for fuck's sake, she held her own with Chimere pretty fucking well with them.
Yep. And then another thing that was really like important here was I thought it was creepy, but when May's like running away, like Chimere's in her head, like speaking to her.
Yeah, that those shots, dude, those were a little like, what the fuck? Like
Yeah.
when I was watching it and taking notes at the same time. So I was over here and I saw it out the corner of my eye and I was like, what the actual fuck was that? And I had to rewind it. I was
Yeah.
like,
Don't jump
I
scare
don't
me like that.
remember this, dude.
Yeah, because he's like calling her a traitor and all these different things, and she's running away. And the
Traitor!
next thing you know, he attacks her. No, not that traitor.
Yeah.
That's for Finn. But yeah, that was super like creepy and in a good way. Like I really liked it because it shows how powerful he is, that he knows that she's running away. Like especially with what we know about being so sensory deprived and knowing that she's trying to make an escape and then him going after her. That was wonderful. And then everybody's true Sith Lord shows up in Soul and
See,
saves the day.
I want to touch on those shots just real quick one more time.
Yeah.
That is where I actually noticed that he really looks like a bobblehead. Is those shots where like he's like calling May a traitor and like in her head, like that's really where I was like Funko Pop, and I couldn't unsee it. But you said
This
that everybody's Sith Lord soul shows up and saves the day.
Yeah, he shows up, saves the day. Pretty much is like what kind of master hides their face from his pupil. And I was like, dude, that's so funny because Soul is a wolf in sheep's clothing the entire show. He's the reason why everything goes bad. He's the reason why all the witches die. He's the reason, like, for everything in this show is because of Soul's impulse. Like, everybody talks about Anakin's impulse. For those of you who really like the High Republic, like, like, a lot of people reference Elzar Mann's impulse. Nobody has worse impulse control than Soul. Oh my god, dude. Like as soon as I heard that line, I literally have it here in my notes. I said, so when Soul says what master hides his face from his pupil, Chimere responds, you tell me. And I was like, and that's because Chimere knows the truth. Chimere knows what happens. And nobody is like picking up on this, that like Soul has so much to tell people. He's hiding so much from everyone. And it really started last episode, in episode 4, when I was telling you like he sensed that Kelnaka died and he immediately goes to Osha and is like, Osha, I have to tell you everything. Which is like, bro, you waited like 16 years to come clean. Like, because he was never going to tell the truth. Like, the one big thing about the Jedi in this show is that they don't tell the truth. And I actually had a conversation with some people yesterday who were very pro Acolyte. And I said, hey guys, like on a sidebar, I never really got to ask you guys this. I know you like the Acolyte. How do you feel about Vernestra? And they were like, don't get me started. Which is how, like, I know, like, the sentiment that is felt towards Vernestra in this show is validated for everybody who's read the High Republic. Some people say that the Wayseeker thing helps a little bit, but and I know that like our big thing was to do this without like interviews and everything, but when I told them that Justina Ireland and Leslie Headland had not spoken, they were dumbfounded. They were like, yep, it totally makes sense. And that's a little sidebar because we're going to get into Vernestra a lot next episode. But it was very interesting to see Soul like, oh, what kind of master hides his face from his pupil? And it's like, Soul, shut the hell up. Yeah, like you've been doing it this entire time and you have not changed.
Well, it's actually funny that you brought up Vernestra because I actually do have some notes. Like I said, that Soul and Chimere have a Michael Myers type of standoff while Basil and Yord and Osha head back to the ship. Soul's using Form 4, Ataru, and Chimere asks Soul if he remembers him, and Soul senses something familiar. And since it's a rewatch review, I'm wondering if this has anything to do with meeting Chimere on Olega, or if it has to do with the fact that he's Vernestra's Padawan. And if it's the second one, it's the question I've been asking. How does Soul not remember this guy if he's Vernestra's Padawan?
I have that here too. I thought that he was sensing Chimere because this guy was trained at the temple. They literally say he was trained by a Jedi. and all this stuff, but like, how does nobody know who Chimere is? And I know like a lot of people just refer to him as the Stranger. I have never referred to him as a Stranger. Like, he's Chimere the whole time. When he's Chimere in the mask, he's Chimere without the mask on. He's just Chimere.
Yeah.
I know like even the book references him as the Stranger. Like, oh, we don't know his real name until somebody tells me it's not Chimere. I'm going with Chimere. But yeah, I was like, dude, how does nobody know? And like, oh, I sense something familiar. It's like, is it because you guys were both younglings at the same time? Like, I know Manny Jacinto looks significantly younger, but like, some people don't age
Yeah,
a
we
lot.
touched on
Yeah.
that in episode 4. I think you said like Jared Leto,
Yeah.
freaking Jake Gyllenhaal, Kid Paul Rudd, like those people
Ryan
just don't
Reynolds, for a
age.
while, they just haven't.
Yeah, it's just that's just one question that we probably will never get answered unless it's in maybe The Way Seeker. I don't know. I haven't read those books. It's probably just something we'll never get the answer for. How does nobody recognize Chimere?
Yeah. Yeah, the Wayseeker doesn't even, from what I've heard from people, doesn't even reference the issue with Chimere. Apparently, it references what Vernestra did in the final book of the Acolyte, like the Jedi win. Like, yeah, we've known this the entire time the Jedi win because episodes 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9. like like, so, I mean, all the like that's the simple answer to it, but like, we know that they win. I haven't read that book either. I haven't even finished the last High Republic book, which I definitely should. I have way too many books going on right now, and I'm really just focusing on finishing Dawn of the Jedi, which
Yeah,
boy do we need to get that done. But I really wish we had like knew how old Chimere was, or when his story really takes place, and like, because he could even be older, like he can be older than Soul. He can't be
yeah.
older than
Well,
Vanestra because she's 116 years old. But
well, it's like you said in episode 4, dude. Like birthdays are implied, but we don't have any official dates, and that's where we get muddy waters, like with Conehead. But yeah, I think that's what a massive, not just an Acolyte issue, but just Star Wars issue in general is like we know these people's ages somewhat. Like I know Anakin's 22, 23 in Revenge of the Sith and 45, 46 in Return of the Jedi, but there's no birth dates, you know?
even like to know how old somebody is doesn't do it justice for a lot of people because Yoda's 900. Now, Grogu's like 50 years old and he should act more like a 5-year-old, but my headcanon theory for Grogu is that he is underdeveloped because he spent so long hidden away. He wasn't really learning anything. That's why like he should be more like 5 at 50 and 10 at 100. That's how my headcanon works for the Yoda species. But like Jackie's 19, but she feels like a child. Like,
Yeah, now that you brought up like when she picks up the second saber, like I
yeah.
really see it. I
Yeah.
really see
She's
it
like,
now.
second saber time. She's like
Yeah,
every
she really
anime
does.
character. I've unlocked my final form.
But she really does like act like a child. Like not like how Anakin was acting childish or Luke was acting childish at 19, but like legitimately kind of acting like a child throughout this. Like yeah, there's moments where she's kind of stern and somewhat like got it together, but then like she gets around Osha and then she's acting like a 5-year-old girl. Which
Yep.
there's probably some like love thing going on between them.
I did not establish any love triangles in this thing.
Well, not a love triangle, but
Or
definitely something between
no
like
linear
May,
loves
not
either.
May, but Osha and Jackie.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think he's infatuated with like just knowing that this is her master's like former pupil who left. And
probably.
like and she's just like, "Oh my god," like she's so entranced with what she's gone through that's why it feels that way. I didn't think there was any like romantic interest there.
Well, I didn't like immediately. Well, I kind of did immediately go to it, but it wasn't something that even really bothered me. It was just something I noticed, like whenever they go to leave the temple in episode 2, I think it is. Like when like they're just talking and all that, and I was like, oh, I could see it, I could see it,
Yeah.
but
I think my favorite scene with Jackie, and it's a little off topic, is when she goes onto the ship and just goes, Jord, put your clothes on. Like, she is so sick and tired of him all the time. And
But that contradicts the book that came out that Yord is Jackie's favorite person.
yeah, I haven't read that book either. I think that'll be an interesting one to read. I think I'm more interested to read that one than I am to read Wayseeker. I feel bad that Justina Ireland still had to write that book the way that she did in order to try to justify something that she had no control over. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. And then like there's this battle between Soul and Chimere, and Soul's like about to put down Chimere, which like would have been amazing. But then Osha's like, Soul, what the fuck? And it's like, and he goes, oh yeah, I forgot. I'm supposed to be a Jedi. And it's like,
Wait,
no,
was
dude,
that
you're a Sith
after?
Lord.
Was that after he turned Jackie into a 3-hole punch?
It is after.
And then I talk about where, like, honestly, what the fuck did I write? Force food
Yeah.
in this show, honestly, take the cake and are up there with Duel of the Fates. Okay, yeah.
It
Never
happens
mind.
after because what happens after this is that Osha senses that everybody's going to die. Like she's like, he's going to kill them all. And she convinces Yord to go back. And they decide to go back, which is like Yord still guess what's coming to him, but this is like the first time that like he has acted like a human. Like, okay, I'm gonna do what's best. He comes in defense, like, and you get that really badass scene where they are saber to saber and they're attacking each other, but then like Yord, I think he gets lightsaber slashed like on the leg, I think, or something like that. And then
I think so, yeah.
and then next thing you know, like, he's telling like Osha's asking who he is, and he's like, I don't know. He doesn't follow the rules of combat. Like which is like,
Didn't
bro,
know
like
there was rules of combat.
well, the Jedi are so secluded and like they have like at this point they haven't had a major conflict in 100 years, and even the person that they've had conflicts with, they don't do lightsabers. So this is their really like first lightsaber on lightsaber thing, and he was unready for the way that he attacks. And they come back, and that was when you get like that really badass scene with Yord and them, but then obviously Yord can't keep up. And I think, what was it, the very first episode we did where I just kept showing the neck snapping? Like, my God, that was hilarious.
Yeah, because got here that Osha and Yord, they almost attract the Umba moth or Umbra moths, however the fuck you pronounce it, the big bug creatures that
Yeah.
Vernestra uses her light whip on. The one shot in the trailer that we get to see of the light whip. And Chimere almost gets May. And then we get some of those random up close shots. And I put in here, I don't know if that was he was in her head or if he was actually running. And if he was actually running, that was a odd choice. But I think it's he was in her head. I like that a lot more. And then I got that, Chimere tries to kill May for being weak because he does eventually catch up to her and for wanting to betray him. And Soul and Jackie swoop in, and we get this era's Duel of the Fates, which it's nothing like Duel of the Fates, but it's pretty cool. It is a Master and Padawan going up against a Sith / dark side user, which I enjoyed. I did like it. Definitely didn't top Duel of the Fates, which I don't think that's what they were going for. I think they were just trying to finally give us some good saber choreography, which they fucking did.
Yeah.
So I gotta give them. I gotta give credit where credit's due. Like the saber combat, the hand to hand, the force food. Like yes, the weird. What is it like I forget what the Japanese samurai style movie is that they do, like with their whole weird stances that they use when in like episode 8 and all the slow-mo. But fucking the saber combat and the force fu and hand to hand, best that Disney has given us.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, this didn't live up to Duel of the Fates," and like some of the marketing was like some of the best lightsaber action since the prequels. I think for specifically this episode, everything lived up to like it had the right amount of hype. It was definitely some of the best lightsaber combat that we've gotten since the prequels, because the sequels don't have good lightsaber combat at all because Luke never got to train people the way that he should have, especially because Luke barely knew how to fight with a lightsaber. And Star Wars Closet, shout out Star Wars Closet, made a video that they fight for necessity in the original trilogy, and then that kind of continues in the sequels. They do like a little bit more flipping, but like that kind of prequel era training has not returned. And that's mostly because Luke doesn't fight like that. Luke fights out of necessity more than out of style and stuff like that. And so this is the first time, and it can actually and accurately be claimed that we have up to par lightsaber combat with the prequels. And I would even think I think episode 8 is decent enough at the choreography with the sabers. There's a little bit too much what feels like slow-mo anime flying in that one, but we'll get into that during episode 8. But the combat itself was nice. But yeah, so here's where I have the Jeki thing. I said Jeki, in my opinion, is probably the second strongest Jedi that isn't Soul in this show. But also, at the same time, I wrote Jeki's overconfidence kicks in at the exact moment when she sees her lightsaber reignite after coming into contact with Cortosis, which that is that moment that she's like, ooh, double lightsaber, it's time to go. And I said this will ultimately lead towards her downfall. And obviously, the next thing I have here is that combat scene happens, which was dude, she was really holding her own. And then that's when Chimere turns her into Swiss cheese. It's like he 3-hole punched her.
Yeah, fuck it. I put that Osha and Yord head back, and we get some more of the awesome saber / force fu, and Jeki holds her own with Chimere and ends up breaking Chimere's helmet, but then eventually gets 3-hole punch and dies in front of Soul. He attacks May, but Soul attacks him, and Chimere holds him off with one hand and gets into his head about how he attacked when his back is turned, and that it's not very Jedi-like. Which, dude, after Jeki died, I noticed this look in Soul's face of I'm going to kill this motherfucker. And I was like, Old Force was right. This dude is giving in dark side at every chance he gets, dude. Dude, Soul actively just tips his toes into the fucking dark side.
You know what color? I think people would hate it. I think people would have hated it. His lightsaber color should have been purple. Soul is the perfect person to wield a purple lightsaber. Now, obviously, we know that the purple lightsaber comes because Samuel L. Jackson would not do it unless he could stand out. That's why the purple lightsaber exists. But then now they have canon stories of why he has a purple lightsaber. And I think that Soul not having that pure balance and using the dark side while also pretending to be a Jedi would definitely lead him to having a purple lightsaber.
Yeah.
Which is also funny that Vernestra has a purple lightsaber because, well, besides in this show, she doesn't touch the dark side at all. But her lightsaber color has always been purple the entire time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, I love the scene. So Jeki at least gets to break the mask. Now, I thought that he took the mask off. I thought that was how that worked. I thought it opened in the back, but we see him in the next episode fixing it. That's how you know that all the bashes to the helmet was enough to break the cortosis, which means cortosis is not, it's not that it's not strong, but it's very brittle, I think, in the way that it cracks. Because if it was weak, I think it would have cracked more towards his face, but it actually cracked more where his head would have been hitting on the back of it.
Yeah.
So that broke, but then he 3-hole punches her. And you know how I mentioned before, Osha disrespects Basil by calling him the Basil or are they with us, not really knowing what Basil is. And then he's you killed Soul's you killed Jeki, and then Chimere just dehumanized her and goes, was that its name?
Dude, Chimere just really knows how to get under people's fucking skin. He really 100%. Does. I got in here after Soul gets pissed off at him. He asks what he is, and he says that he has no name, but the Jedi might call him Sith. And he isn't Sith, which we gotta put that out there. Not once does Chimere refer to himself as a Sith. He's wants to wield the Force however the fuck he wants to. Sure, he's got a red lightsaber. Sure. But you know how I know he's not a Sith? We have not seen him use Force lightning. So, can't be a true Sith. But he said, and I like the way that he plays this.
Can Vader use lightning?
No, Vader was never a true Sith. Like you said, he was always just enforcer, Pocket Sand.
Yeah, yep. Could you imagine? Like those we were talking about episode 8, and this is a side tangent, like about the comedic humor that they wanted to throw in, like with the tossing of Luke Saber. Like imagine just in the Obi-Wan thing, just pocket sand. Like see you later, Darth, just sand in the mask.
But to go back to like Chimere getting under people's skin, he kind of plays it as if it's May and the Jedi's fault, which somewhat, well, not somewhat, it is uh,
Yeah.
May's fault for wanting to expose Chimere, and it's Soul's fault for everything.
And it's
It's Soul's
Vernestra's fault
for
for
basically getting
attacking
his
him.
ego hurt 16 years ago about not having a Padawan.
Yeah, and we still don't know how May and Chimere meet. And I mean, Vernestra, I guess, is the one that kicks off all of this. She's the one that attacks him, which I don't know. Is that like it was never officially confirmed. Like we've always just confirmed it because like she senses him at episode 8 and goes, "You," and then he's like, and then he dips. Like he's like, "I'm out of here." And like obviously it's a whip mark on his back. That's what it looks like. Like we've all inferred, and I think like we have headcanon confirmed that that's the master that betrayed him.
Yeah. But he says that May exposed him and now everybody has to die. He doesn't make the rules, the Jedi do. The Jedi say that he can't exist, so and now that they've seen his face, they've all got to die. And he just wants to wield his power the way he wants and wants an acolyte that won't back down on their deal. Which I like I said in my notes which leads me to think that he isn't really a Sith. There's moments that he really seems to care for May and or Osha throughout the series, which could just be manipulation, but at the same time, he really could just be a fallen Jedi. Again,
Yeah.
he said he has no name, that the Jedi might call him Sith. He pokes at May and Soul's Pass, and we finally get it. We finally get to see Yord die. He grabs
Yeah.
Chimere's helmet, shorts out the saber on the gauntlets, but shorts out Chimere's saber and finds out that it's Chimere, and then we get to hear that sweet, sweet neck crunch.
That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
His compassion with May or Osha throughout the series is what makes me really think that he's not a Sith. But at the same time, now that I'm thinking about it, like Buddy like flipped on a dime, almost like Palpatine does. He shows all of, like this compassion towards Anakin / Vader until Anakin gets his ass handed to him. Then he's like, "Yep, fuck you. You are nothing to me now," which is what Chimere did to May, except without putting her in a robotic suit for the rest of her life.
It's the same
He
thing
just
that
takes away
Plagueis
her
does.
memories.
Yeah, it's the
What?
same thing that Plagueis did to Palps. Like remember, like he's super influential to him. He's like super there for him, and then once Palpatine kills his family, it's like okay, time to go train in the cold, almost die, and then like really harness the anger. So like, yeah, that torture's there, but like Soul or not Soul, Soul's a true Sith, but Chimere, like he's not really a true Sith because he does have genuine compassion. I mean, unless Vernestra attacked him, she would have had to get behind him unless he was already turning to the dark side, and she kind of enforced that obviously by showing up in his bedroom while he was sleeping and igniting her lightsaber, because that's how that happens. But like unless he was actually turning to the dark side and like we have it all wrong that like he wasn't attacked, I still believe that he was attacked defenseless, which is why his training harped on it so much. But he can't agree with the Jedi anymore because of what's happened to him. And if he was a true Sith, when he got the chance to kill May again, like he had that opportunity in episode 8 where he could have killed her. But instead, like Osha's like, "Hey, help me with this, and I will come with you." And he's like, "Okay." And then the one thing that you see in episode 2, don't do the mind wipe thing. Yeah, they do the mind wipe thing. This whole series leads into doing the mind wipe thing. But I don't think he's actually a Sith. And I agree with you. Like, he only refers to himself as Sith. And we knew going into this that, like, if it was going to be any type of Sith based show or Dark Jedi type show, everybody that comes in contact with this guy is going to die. It's just the way that it has to be. And boy, I know we're glazing this episode because this episode deserves all the glaze. Like this episode deserves to go to Krispy Kreme and get glazed.
I was
and
about to
everything.
say, bro, this
Yeah,
episode is the entire Krispy Kreme
yeah,
glazed dozen, dude. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like this episode deserves all the praise because like there's just nothing wrong. Like when you understand this show about Soul being a wolf in sheep's clothing, when you understand the pain that Chimera goes through, like this episode, but if the detail and everything was built up throughout this entire series and it didn't need such deep dives into it to unpack it all, this show would have been amazing. Like this would have been
yeah,
everything that everybody's asked for. And this is why like my opinion has changed. I thought that like they shouldn't bring it back. This show has all the right bones to keep it going. It's like George Lucas going to Bob Iger and like saying like, "Hey, give me a second season of Young Indy. I know I don't deserve it, but give me a second season anyway." And instead of George also then proving he didn't deserve it, I think this show could prove that it deserves it. This show has all the right bones and has all the right things in place to make it amazing. And I hope it comes back one day. I hope it lives on. I hope we get to see more of Chimera. And I want to see so much more of Plagueis. I don't want to just see him in that, read the James Luceno novel,
yeah.
and then just hear about it in Revenge of the Sith. Like, I want to see and know Darth Plagueis.
I agree. I'm not necessarily wanting that. I still probably won't change my mindset of I don't want a season 2 unless it's like they get rid of May and Osha, like get rid of that whole fucking storyline. I don't give two fucks about them. I want the Chimera show, brother. I want what happened with Vernestra and Chimera. I want Chimera's training in the dark side. Who is his master? Because I'm sorry. Plagueis is not his master. I don't care how bad everybody wants to push that momentum. He's not his master. He was checking, he probably heard about a dark side user or probably felt the dark side being used throughout that time and checking in on whoever this is because his home's clearly Valdemnik. I mean, he lives in a Cortosis mind.
Yep. And dude, obviously Plagueis was looking for Soul. He wasn't looking for Chimera. He was looking for the true Sith Lord. But he was like, oh, that one died, so these two are fine. But even like with all the OSHA stuff, for the people who don't like the way OSHA was, all of OSHA's issues in the past are fixed. Like not fixed. Like it's her issues that are going to help her dive deep into the dark side. But like she's whiny, she lacks self-confidence, she has this thought in her head that anytime she pulls on this thread somebody close to her dies, and to find out that that's not her fault, it's never been her fault, it is uncanny coincidences or the Jedi lying to her, she is more confident than ever at the end of this. That's why she's going with him. I think she's going to be great. And to kind of see what moves the Jedi are willing to take to put May's mind back together and to see if that could even be possible, I'm okay with all of that. Like I'm okay with all of it coming back because the OSHA that we are getting is not the same OSHA that we saw in this series.
Dude,
At
I
least
just
that's how I
realized if
feel
they
about
do
it.
that's May will be the canonical Darth Revan.
I mean, they could
I
even
just pissed off
reference
my
like,
entire fucking channel by saying that, by the way.
well, they could say we've done this before. Like, dude, they could canonize Revan in
Well,
like
dude,
pretty much
that's
one way. Like, hey, we've done this before. I went to the archives. We did this for Revan, and then it's like, okay, now we're one step closer to Revan again. Like, we're getting one step closer the more we mention it.
I know I mentioned it in text, but I don't remember if I brought it up in one of like the earlier episodes. Like whenever you talked about Chimera doing the whole Jedi mind wipe thing, like I was like, well, maybe that is what caused him to leave the Jedi Order. Sure, Darth Revan is legends and all that, but they also haven't not said that he's canon. Like none of the old Republic Sith are not canon. You know,
Yeah.
they're Siths of legend, I guess.
Yep.
The way to put it. Like I thought that maybe Chimera might have gone into the archives and found out about them mind wiping Darth Revan, and that's maybe what kicks off his whole like, I don't trust the Jedi. They're mind wiping their own. What the fuck is this about?
Yeah. Yeah. And then learning more about it. I mean, there's so many unanswered things for this show. We don't even know how May ends up with Chimera.
Yeah.
Like, at all. Like Like, it's not like, I mean, I hope it's not like that Chimera was actually just a secret witch. Like, he was a male, like, he was maybe
He's the
hidden by one
Mr.
of the
Meaty
other.
character.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just saying, like, not like he's any of the characters, but maybe one of the characters have a son and they don't want to know him because this is a coven full of, well, I think the word coven means that it's full of witches, and witches mean female. I think anyway. But yeah, then we have like the Yord, Nestle crunching, which he totally deserved. It was nice that they humanized him a little bit right before he got what he deserved. But dude, I just love Chimera, how disrespectful he is. And then that's when I have Soul goes to kill Chimera after he snaps Yord's neck and after all the death he's caused. And like, and as he's right about to do it, and he's justified. Like, Soul is justified to kill Chimera after all of this. But I literally said, OSHA shows up and is like, yo, what are you doing? Like, this isn't the Jedi way. And Chimera is like, this is your master? Going like, hey, like, this is how far this guy has fallen. And I have it written here. This again proves that Soul is hiding behind the mask. Soul is never in control of his emotions and will always let them get the better of him when it comes to getting what he wants. And at this point, he wants revenge. Just like he wanted a Padawan 16 years ago. He got made fun of by Indar for never having a Padawan. He took it as a challenge. He got one. Now a lot of people had to die in order to do it, but he got what he wanted. And I was like, I said he was trying to tell OSHA about what happened as well, but Soul is just continuing his lying. I said Chimera said that he has come to terms with the darkness inside of him, but questions Soul. And what has he done with the darkness inside of him, which is absolutely amazing because, like, again, wolf in sheep's clothing. He is the Sith Lord.
Maybe this rewatch is to help people notice that Chimera isn't the true villain of the Acolyte.
Yeah, it's Soul. Soul is the villain of this entire show. I mean, from my
Yeah.
perspective, anyway. I just don't know how you would
Well,
see it otherwise.
I put in my notes after Soul was gonna kill Chimera and OSHA stops him. Soul gave into the dark side so fucking much. He's a loose cannon, and I don't know who's worse, him or Anakin, because like fuck it, we'll throw Luke in the mix if you're throwing in like threatening his family and all that. Like they're all three of them are loose cannons, but all of the three, I'm probably picking Soul for the worst. I mean, the dude got an entire coven killed. Fucking got all these Jedi killed, and then basically got himself killed, all because he can't keep his emotions in check. And I said here, like, attachments and feelings aren't bad in the Jedi Order, as shown in the Legends Luke's New Jedi Order. But good fucking God, does Soul take it to the fucking extreme. Even after being trained since he was 6 years old, this dude has not learned to control his feelings, attachments, or his need to prove himself.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. I mean, like, that's exactly it. The entire time, this entire show, which, like, honestly, that's my favorite part about rewatching this is just like realizing and seeing how unhinged Soul is. And like, honestly, dude, like Jung Jae, I think that's how you pronounce it, like, did a wonderful job at this, especially for like having to learn English to do the role and everything. I think he's the perfect guy for the wolf in sheep's clothing. Now, I think we talked about it before. I think it would have been cool if he didn't speak basic, but everything about this is wonderful. And then this, and I just got to the points of my notes and I forgot that this happened. I forgot about the recycled scene from Revenge of the Sith that happens here between May and OSHA because they come to blows with each other in this one. That's what sets up with the body switching, not body switching, clothes swap or whatever.
Yeah, which he cuts her dreadlock with the lightsaber.
Yeah, the lightsaber haircut, which honestly kind of badass. Not like the way that
Just
it was done looked
how
a little
terrible
weird.
it smelled, though.
Man, why's your hair burn? I don't. Yeah, that's
What
kind of interesting.
recycled Revenge of the Sith? Like,
So
what are
I
you
say,
talking about?
so I say that the speech between May and OSHA literally feels recycled from Revenge of the Sith. I said May even says that the Jedi have turned her against her. I know a lot of skeptics and a lot of people who do not like this show and say that it ruins Anakin's origin story as well as like his turn to the dark side. And this might be the one point I literally can't refute because it feels recycled. Like she's like, oh, you come back to me, like they've turned you against me and all this stuff. And I was like, dude, this feels recycled from Revenge
Dude,
of
I
the
didn't
Sith.
even notice that.
Yeah, and I could be misunderstanding. This is the way that I interpret it. I interpreted it to be recycled. And then like you have them hugging and like Osha's crying because even though she loves her sister, she knows that there are things at this moment that she cannot forgive. And like May has so much to tell her as well because May knows the truth. Don't know how May knows the truth other than she pressed R for respawn. And but she knows that there's something hidden there. But right now, like Osha's crying because even though she's so excited to have her sister, she cannot forgive it.
Yeah.
And then they have this fight where May knocks Osha out and was like, "You never did know how to block." Like, shut up. Their fight scene wasn't very
Memorable.
memorable. And like I said, that scene kind of felt recycled. I knew something like this would had to happen in this. Like they'd have to have a reunion before they finally do everything. But like this part here is really an afterthought. And then I also say every other time we see May, the mark on her forehead is completely noticeable. But because she switched place with Osha, it's now just not noticeable. I said I still had this belief in my first watch through, and that even just based off the way they talk, Soul knows that this is May from the very beginning. Like I think Soul immediately knew. I don't think he was being fooled. But then next episode is this little guy's time to shine because even though he absolutely sucks as a tracker, he knows how to get things done.
Yeah. I got in my notes that May pretended to be Osha and help Soul to the ship, but he doesn't immediately notice that it's not Osha. And then I put in my notes that either everyone in this show is really good at force deception, or my headcanon and my justification is Soul is in just so much shock and trauma from everything that has happened that like it just hasn't like kicked in yet. Like that, hey, this isn't the person, but maybe he does know. But I mean, the dude did just witness an entire team of Jedi just get wiped out single handedly by one dude. So
Yep. And about that one dude too, it was my last note that I had. But everybody was like, "Oh, Chimera got defeated by bugs." Chimera was never defeated by the bugs. The whole thing was to overwhelm him and to take him away. They knew what the bugs would do if it came time to it. That's why she slaps Pip onto him and does that. I was like, he doesn't lose the fight. It's not like Chimera lost the fight to a bunch of bugs. It's he literally can't take on this many when they're overwhelming him. That's why he comes back. It's like, okay, takes him a little time to defeat them all. And then he comes back and then he notices that Osha's just laying there and he has I didn't write it down, but he has a quick little like witty saying about what he has.
I didn't write it down either. I just wrote that he walks up to her, force heals her, and Jesus fuck, so everybody can force heal now. Except for the one
Yep.
dude that wanted to force heal.
Well, the one dude that wanted to force heal didn't even need to force heal. He was just a selfish little ass who wanted everything in his control and not tell anybody what he was doing.
True. But that's like the last thing I wrote down before I said that overall, this episode still remains my favorite. I did find myself wanting to go back to Soul and Chimera, or Chimera fighting the Jedi when it would cut to Osha and Yord, or Jeki and whoever, just May. The saber fights were the best we've gotten in any Disney Star Wars project. I was engaged the whole time, and aside from Soul not recognizing Chimera as either Venestra's Padawan or that May isn't Osha, I originally gave it an 8 out of 10, but I'm bumping it up, dude. Like, honestly, for me, talking about it and thinking about it, like, this episode's a 10 out of 10, like, straight up for me.
Even with the Osha May.
Even with my gripes.
Yeah.
Like,
We might
I
we might
would
be
not,
on opposite sides here.
I wouldn't change much.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. It's still gonna be high, but I'm not going 10. I'm going 9.5, just because I don't like the recycled material or what I feel to be recycled material between like Revenge of the Sith. I think it's a 9.5. I think it's a perfect episode. If we had this the entire time, like it would have been great. And honestly, 4, 5, and 6, dude, I was just like, damn, I'm so happy I rewatched this again. And then I had to watch, 7. And like, it's not like that I have a huge gripe with 7. The main issue I have with 7, and I'll preface this before we ever get into it. The issue I have with 7 is that we had to spend another episode back in time, and I feel like that led us to not getting some of the answers we wanted.
Yep.
That is my issue with 7. I think episodes 3 and 7 could have just been together in one long episode. And we've talked about this a lot. Like, we beat it to death the way they cut episodes, but we could have maybe gotten more Plagueis or a better understanding of the Chimere Vernestra thing. But because we're going to spend another episode in the past, it just isn't it. Like, I don't know. We could have gotten a duality episode in episode 3.
Yeah. I think we even touched on that in episode 4 because like
Yeah.
the names, like since they wanted to do like the whole like night and day, because this one's called night,
Night.
and the last one was called day.
Yeah.
And
But
episode 1
even
was
that,
what, like I forgot what the first 2 were, but like
the
they
first
easily
2
could have
had
done it.
dual names.
Yeah, they could have done that with 3.
Well, episode 6 is Teach and Corrupt. So number 1 is Lost and Found. 2 is Revenge and Justice. 3 is Destiny. So Destiny and Choice should have been the same episode because number 7 is Choice. Number 8 is The Acolyte. Like, number 8 is when you finally get to what the show is about.
Dude, I remember when this show first came out and episode 8 dropped, like it didn't have a title. It was literally just episode 8.
Yeah, so we have Destiny, Day, Night, Teach, Corrupt, and then Choice. I love the duality naming. Now, I think obviously Day and Night were so impactful that they could not have duality names. These
Yeah.
episodes were their
Respective
coexistent.
titles.
Yep. But episode 7 should have been Destiny and Choice. Like, dude, they work together. Is it your destiny or is it your choice? Perfect.
Yeah.
One episode. But yeah, that was it for this, dude. 9.5.
This is probably the highest I'm going to rank any of the episodes of The Acolyte, dude. Like, it's straight 10 out of 10 for
Yeah.
me. And like, I know I'm probably
Dude.
going to get a lot of flack from my channel from just even ranking an episode from this show that high, but genuinely watch this episode, y'all, and then go back and rewatch episode 5 and tell me that I'm fucking wrong.
I agree. If your channel wants to get on you about that, fuck them. That's all I got to say. We've talked about it a lot. Not everything needs to be negative. If this episode still isn't for you, don't watch it. If that's really what it comes down to, like, watch the stuff that you care about. We're not here to give anybody a bad time or to make anybody's day harder. So if you're like, oh, if you're watching this and you're like wreathing, or not wreathing, but if you're like seizing in anger and you're just like shaking, why are you here? Go away. Go watch something else. Go turn on A New Hope. Go turn on the prequels. Go watch literally anything else. But yeah, I definitely, I love this episode specifically. And this was like, when I watched this again, I was like, yeah, if I can get more of this, bring this show back, like, now. And that's pretty much where I've been ever since. And that's why I'm collecting all the Acolyte Tops 25 Chrome to go with all my High Republic stuff.
But yeah.
But with that being said, that's a wrap for this episode. Make sure that if you watched through the end here, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Comment down below what you liked about the episode, what you didn't like about the episode. Let us know what you would rate it, because obviously Star Wars Nerd gave it a 10. I'm sitting a little bit lower here at a 9.5. Still very high. Let us know what you think about the lightsaber combat. Does it live up to what you would want out of lightsaber combat? Does it give you that hype that we saw in the prequels? Let us know all that stuff down in the comments, and we will see you next time for episode 6, Teach and Corrupt. Peace.
Peace.